welcome to the On the Racing Line, the podcast by fans, for fans, round 2 of the 2023 season. Got underway in Saudi Arabia on the weekend, the Jeddah racetrack. It was it's a racetrack that we're really looking forward to seeing the cars go around, and I thought everyone behaved themselves really well. It was a very well-behaved race, which is a little bit unusual for this venue. And to discuss all of that is Tristan. Hello, mate.
Hello, mate. Happy second round.
Is that a thing?
It is a thing.
Happy second round.
Happy round 2.
Absolutely.
Next week after, happy round 3. Is it next week? Yeah, it's not this week, is it?
Well, it's not this weekend. It's weekend after.
I know. And I was like you. We talked about it last week. I was hoping for back-to-back or triple-headers.
Non-existent.
No, I'm not happy about it.
I was sure. And after Australia,
yep,
heaven forbid, we've nearly got a month off because China's been removed and hasn't been replaced in that time slot.
I'm not a fan of that. The last thing I need is a month off.
Exactly, this time of year.
Yeah.
I've got a theory about that. We'll talk about that a little bit later on.
Awesome.
But, yeah, it's race ranking from the weekend?
6.
6. That was the right answer last week.
6, it was.
Yeah, but you didn't
But
give
it's
it
not
last
what
week.
I gave it last week.
I think...
What did I give last week? I think I gave it a 9.
Yeah,
I was up and about after last week.
Yep.
Yeah, no one else was.
No.
Whatever.
No, you're by yourself.
Yep.
6 for me too. It's a worrying 6. It's a worrying 6.
A worrying 6.
Yeah, it's a bit of a worrying 6.
Mine's more of just a pleasant 6.
Okay.
Just...
I quite enjoyed getting up and watching the race, but I'm worried about our season.
You're worried about the season?
I was down in the dumps last week.
Oh, yeah?
There was some confirmation happening this week. But there's still a great deal to enjoy about Formula 1. And we didn't actually see a Max Verstappen win.
We didn't know.
Which some people were predicting that we weren't going to see anything.
It was going to be every single race and every pole, wasn't it?
Only took round 2 to squash that idea.
Yeah, pretty much 1 week and everyone was wrong.
Yep, that's right. Now, last year we asked the question, who has the pace?
Yes, okay. Well, surely we're not going to ask that question.
We're not going to ask that question. But I'm interested to hear who has the pace of the best of the rest.
The best of the rest. Yeah, well, Aston.
Is it Aston or is it Alonso?
Jeez, or it could be both. Well, it is both, isn't it? It's Alonso in an Aston. Yeah, it has to be Aston.
And then this is the tricky one.
Yeah, it's Mercedes.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
That's concerning, isn't it, for Ferrari?
Considering
Mercedes
it's round 2, but
have complete plans of ripping everything up and starting fresh.
Can we go straight to it and just say Ferrari, they're in trouble?
You've come a long way in a week.
I know. Well, I mean,
you were into me. You're into somebody else about saying so down in the dumps about them.
Well, it's round 1. I've given them an extra week to what everyone else has. They're MIA, aren't they, at the moment?
It's concerning.
Just in all facets.
There is concern. We'll talk about them in a minute.
Good-o.
We've got all the goodies. We've got the race review. We've got the All Signs 3, 2 and 1. That's awesome. We can do a little chat about F1.5. But
we can. Well, we can start speculating.
Before we get there...
Yep.
I've got a new segment.
And
good. This is a surprise new segment.
They're all surprise new segments.
I know.
You say it like I'm ever prepared for a new segment. I never am.
We might have to get a little bit creative later on. But
are you aware that our new segments don't actually last any longer than the episode that you announced that we have a new segment?
I'm waiting for a few things to catch on.
Not a lot.
Waiting for a few things to catch on.
All
this
right.
one's a good one. I like it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we've got fantasy, and we're just discussing fantasy. And there's a little bit of news. So plenty to get through.
Good.
Before we get there,
okay.
Our man Sam actually had the opening question.
Really?
Until it was stolen by his wife.
Good.
And it's because it's Sam's birthday. She's decided that she's going to steal his opening question and take it for herself, which I'm not entirely sure is a birthday gift.
No. I'd say no.
Happy birthday, Sam. What theme F1 cake should I make for my husband for his birthday? What cake would you choose?
What theme cake?
Now, we know Sam is a huge Aston Martin fan.
Yeah, okay.
I quite like the idea of a Pirelli tyre, though.
Okay, yeah.
So
that's easy, isn't it?
Well, it's easy, but it looks good. It's round. There's not a lot of work to do.
Like, that's clearly...
They're running slicks at the moment.
That's like a mud cake.
You could do a wet.
It's one of those Safeway mud cakes with black icing on it, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but you got to get the Pirelli on there. You got to get the Pirelli on there.
Yeah, it's full. It's a foolproof. Foolproof format.
What'd you go with? I'd love to see someone like my wife attempt to actually nail a cake and put the arrow on it. Imagine that.
That'd be very good, wouldn't
If they could do that, they must be working in the factory, I guess.
I don't know, you could do just a front wing would be alright, wouldn't it? Could you do a front wing?
Front wing cake.
Just a front wing.
Really?
Yeah. Like, the effort to sculpt a whole car would be enormous. I'm just trying to picture how you do that. You know, man, I have no idea when it comes to cooking. Yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe a front wing.
Could there be like a part?
A part?
A halo cake?
A halo cake? What would you put it on?
I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing. A helmet?
A helmet would be alright. You could do a helmet. A lot of icing, a lot of detail in that.
Yeah. If you get up to any of those things, Paige, you let us know.
What flavour? We did something similar to this last year, didn't we? It was like the team was a flavour of something. If they had like bag of lollies. Do you remember doing that one?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Vaguely, yeah. Might have been a few years ago. What flavour would it be? You know when you go to an F1 track and the Formula 1 cars have that smell?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and we're going to have a big note ourselves here, but when we're wandering along pit lane like we like to, and they've turned it on and the cars are on, and they've got that smell because that fuel has just got that unique smell.
So fuel.
Imagine if you could flavour the cake
Is that your flavour
of the fuel. Anyone who's been at a Formula 1 racetrack will know what they smell like.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd be trying to get that waft in
yum. Yum. Fuel-flavoured cake.
Yep, that's right.
Jesus Christ.
What would you go?
I don't know. Not fuel.
Let's get into a race review. Not one of your best ones,
Paige. No.
But it was nice to steal it off your husband on his birthday. Happy birthday, Sam. Rightio. Before we get into the race review, I've got a really big question for you.
Okay, go for it.
Do we need... And this revolves around the Leclerc coming into round 2 with penalties.
Yes.
Okay?
Yep.
Because of using components.
Well, no, 3 control electronics, you're only allowed 2.
Yep.
And then an ice as well.
Yep. Now that we're in an age of budget caps, do we need to have a limit on components? Because the whole reason they came in is to limit the amount being spent and wasted in Formula 1.
Yep.
Is there a problem with teams now being able to just use as many components as they need to, but it comes into the cost cap?
Nah, not really. I don't think you can't live. I mean, you got to have runners on the weekend. You can't have someone sitting out a race weekend because they've
no. No, that's what I'm saying. No, let them use as many control units as they need to.
Yes.
Because it's just going to cost their
budget
Sorry,
I was thinking the other way.
It's not like they're going to bring in an extra engine every year.
No.
Every race.
No.
Because they've got to get in their budget cap, and that's it. They're expensive things to be making.
No, that's all right. Good. I was going to say.
And so things like wings, they're allowed to use as many wings as they need to.
Obviously,
and that obviously costs huge amounts of money. Yes. So I wonder whether we've got to a point with a budget cap.
Yep.
If we need to be starting to just release these parts, and they can use as many gearboxes as they need to.
Well, I guess that's sort of it. You got to make the decision on what are you spending your money on. Like if you don't nail your reliability, you need some money aside to fix your reliability. But then you're right. The whole idea behind the cap is you shouldn't still be allowed to develop. It's just bad luck. Your reliability is no good, so your task. That's right. To fix your reliability.
You get removed that amount. So I just wonder whether it's an area we need to go to.
Yeah,
I'm going to see who I can push on this whole idea.
Okay.
When we get to the Grand Prix.
All right, sounds good.
But so I'll be interested to see what people think.
Yeah,
because it's so annoying coming to round 2, and we've got a driver copping penalties for something that they've used too many of. They've obviously made a mistake there.
But you don't know if they've made a mistake or is it a failure. I think they said on the weekend it was a failure that they had not expected or not seen in testing.
But that's what I mean. Like, it's not doing anything for the racing.
No, it's not. But I guess they're caught in limbo there, aren't they? That suddenly where they might have wanted to develop a front wing or they might have wanted, develop the under tray or whatever, they suddenly can't now because they've got to fix this control electronic reliability problem. But you're right, that's costing money. It's just, that's part of it, isn't it? It's like injuries in any other sport. It's you manage your injuries, you don't know that they're coming.
I understand it when it was like free for all.
Yep.
It was going to get ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it was ridiculous there for a long time. But I think this day and age, I think we can probably look to release that.
Yep.
Let's get into qualifying.
Okay. Yep.
Good qualifying session?
I was flat on qualifying because as soon as Max was out, I was very excited with the prospect of an Alonso pole, which didn't come to fruition.
But it was exciting with
It was
Max
exciting,
out,
though. It was exciting without Max out. It was a little bit of a shock.
It was a shock.
And then it's just that hope. I'm hanging on hope at the moment every session because, he topped... No, he didn't top P2, did he? He was second in P2, he was third in P3. And there's just that sniff of hope. And I think for many fans out there that Alonso is going to nab one. And I have no doubt before the year is out, he'll be on pole. Mm-hmm. Would you agree?
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
And he'll win.
Couldn't agree more with the current lay of things.
Yeah. So yeah, it was good. I think that's probably it because that's where my focus was.
So Max is out in Q2.
Yeah. Did you still have the sense that Max was just going to charge to anyway?
It
was very much Hamilton of 2019, 2020.
Yep. Gave me excitement for the session.
Yes.
Gave me excitement for the fact that there might be some excitement coming through the field.
Maybe the first half of the race, but he was going to get there quite quickly.
Yep.
Like
absolutely.
he could have started a lap down. He probably still would have finished second. Sorry.
Yep. 100%.
Yep.
It added that extra interest. Not that we're wanting to knock Max
interest
out,
is
but
probably the
Max
word.
is Max is so on top of things at the moment that we are looking for those sorts of things to even up the crew.
Absolutely.
Perez got the job done in qualifying.
Yeah,
got the job done in the race.
And that's probably it. I think it was more, I don't think he had outpaced Max for the weekend. I don't think he was certainly pushing him or pushing the envelope with the car or the track or anything like that. It's just Max disappeared, Checo had to get it done, and he did.
Yep.
And that's probably the best sort of summary of his weekend, to be quite honest.
This is going to seem ridiculous.
Sure.
Perez was such a much-needed win because... And it seems so crazy to say so early in the season, but if it didn't go well this race for him, then the Wolves would have circled straight away.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I mean, you think about, right, Max has gone out of the picture.
Yep.
You're in the fastest car. If you don't win this, there would have been people coming at him.
And imagine...
And he did everything he needed to, and to the point where even when Max did come at him, he was able to hold him off.
And he lost the lead from Alonso.
He did, yeah.
Straight out first lap one. I think it was like 4 or 5 that he took it back again.
Kept his cool to take it back.
Yes, and then Fernando, he stuck with him though. He didn't just let him go. He stuck with him within half. I think he was in DRS for another 5 to 8 laps.
Yep.
So he pushed him, which is good.
Yeah, absolutely. He was pushed. There was pressure on, but he kept his cool. He made it all happen. He didn't panic when he got overtaken and make a rash move. He knew that he was going to have the equipment to get the job done later on, and he did that. And it was a good win, and it certainly held everyone back for a little while, and it's going to buy him some credits. We used to see this with Bottas early in the season. He used to buy himself some credits with some really strong early performances.
Just bank one.
And that certainly helped. One other thing... That car has got some reliability issues, it's turned out. So we've seen in qualifying, we saw some comments during the race where they were a bit unsure about what was going on. Max was reporting some issues with the driveline.
Yep.
But last race, it turns out the pit wall was on tenterhooks as to whether both cars were going to get back by the end of the race. And so, it's an interesting thing. So, it's certainly not bulletproof at the moment, and I think they're able to sort of manage races pretty comfortably because of their speed, but I think if they do, and when they do get put under pressure soon enough, there might be some reliability issues start popping up with that car, and they have to push it all the way.
Yeah.
I think, do you think that the race was called off between them?
No, I don't think it was. At all.
You don't think Max could catch him?
No, I don't. I think he did enough to keep... I mean, that gap stayed pretty consistent.
Yep.
You don't know what radio calls were heard behind closed doors, but just from what we saw, the gap was pretty consistent, and I think he
managed it well.
He managed it.
The radio calls I was hearing, because I did go and have a listen to a few, was Max was asking about numbers that he needed to keep.
Yes.
And he wasn't really able to get to them until the end. He sort of saved up a bit and pulled off that fastest lap at the end, which I wonder whether the team were down with that because of the issues that he'd been reporting, and I wonder whether it would have been happy for him to go and push for that last lap. But
I'm not sure. And look, it's hard when you come up to... I mean, flying through the grid like he did is quite easy when you come up against, really, the rest of the pack is inferior to the Red Bull. But as soon as you get to the exact same piece of machinery as you, it's not as easy as it is that we saw him blast through everyone else. So,
yeah. So no, it was once again a really solid race from the Red Bull guys. there was some interesting comments after the race from Max, and some interesting comments or interesting looks from his old man at the track, which was really interesting.
Now I saw that, and I'm going to bring that up later on, because I have seen vision that wasn't shown by, really, I'm really just going to say any media outfit, but Checo actually shakes Yoss's hand.
Yeah.
And there's video footage which we didn't get to see. So, yeah, I don't know. I think just a bit of media hype on that. We've seen something and we've run with it, and then every single media outlet has just caught on with it. But then there is footage of Yoss shaking Checo's hand. So I'm okay with that. And I thought the comparison was pretty unfair too between Checo's dad and Yoss, because Yoss is a very different character to what Perez's dad is, which, I mean, he's up and about. He's really eccentric and really vibrant person, but that's not Yoss. So yeah, I don't know, chalk and cheese for me.
It is a really interesting point you make, because Yoss is a certain character.
He is,
but the look wasn't great when everyone was celebrating beside him.
But that's sort of his look, isn't it?
Yeah, and for me, I don't expect him to be celebrating.
Yeah.
But don't stand there.
But he's not screaming and jumping up and down.
Yeah.
If you look at 2021's title, he's putting a shirt on, he's shaking a couple of hands. It's just it's steel based.
Yeah, it is.
And your son's just won a world title.
Yep. Yeah, you could be right.
Imagine if our boys won a world title. I'd lose it. I'd lose it. I wouldn't know not to.
I don't know why I choose to drink a drink with ice in it. It's the worst for podcasting. Sorry about that, everyone. Let's move on to Aston Martin.
Okay.
100th podium for your man, Fernando Alonso.
It was on, then it was off, and it was back on.
Yeah, it was a bit like that. Once again, another really solid race. We saw Stroll coming through the field, and I wondered...
It frightened me.
It will be interesting to see whether Stroll can come and get the next best spot and put any pressure on Alonso. We didn't get to see that in the end because he ended up retiring with looked like an engine failure, but I don't know if we've heard that one yet. But we saw Alonso park his car on the grid in the wrong position. What is with Formula 1 drivers and not being able to park a car?
I'm glad you've brought that up, because we have an issue. Like, this is, for me, this is our first issue of 2023.
This is the talking point.
It is, and it has to be. We have to talk about it. It has to be raised. We have to do something straight away, because we saw it last weekend with a 5-second penalty to Ocon, and we kind of laughed it off a bit because, I guess he had so many bloody penalties after that, so it was Ocon, which is fine. We've seen it again this week, and parking my bias for the great man.
Don't know if you are. Don't know if you are here.
5-second penalty, and then the thing that I'm thinking now is, I don't want to see now that we've had 2 weekends in a row, I do not want a running theme in 2023 where we are going to get a lap in and someone who has missed, and the grid boxes look smaller. I don't know why. They're probably not, but maybe it's now caught my attention.
Do you know what he said about it?
What did he say?
He goes, I obviously put it in the wrong spot. I made a mistake there.
Yeah.
So 19 other drivers managed to get it in the right spot.
Now, I don't know that they did. Because I've seen a photo, and I've been having a look for another little bit of a snapshot of it too. But there are a couple of other drivers in this front, and I don't know whether it's just the angle. There are a couple of other people who are a little bit to the right. Probably not as far as what Fernando was.
So he was outside the box.
Yeah, he was about nearly a full tyre outside. The thing I don't want to see is, I don't want to see anybody from this point on, any driver, it doesn't matter who it is, even Stroll. I don't want to see anyone who is now going to go 5 seconds down because they've missed their pit box to the side. Now, forward, yes, fair enough. If your car is encroaching right across that line, for me, I look at that and I think that's an advantage. So we need to do something. I've heard whispers that there's a new starting procedure in terms of this, because we've never seen this before, ever. And yeah, I don't know.
They were more lenient on it. I wonder whether they can give them a little bit more leeway. So if your tyre's on it, you're in.
Well, I mean, if you
I think that just makes it wide enough.
Yeah.
If your tyre's on the line, you're in.
Yeah.
But we haven't, they have been a lot tougher on this before than them before.
Yeah.
But 19 other drivers in both races managed to nail it.
2 in a row. My worry is that now we're going to start seeing people getting pinned for 5 seconds, stop and goes.
Yeah. Whereas you can't be any distance sideways, because they could end up being right next to the driver beside them.
You're not allowed to. Yeah, and that's it. Maybe, and the direction too. I mean, the penalty's right because he shouldn't have been there. But then, how much of an advantage are you getting by being closer to the wall.
They have to be somewhere. They have to be somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to see. I don't want to see drivers pin for this. 5 seconds for this, especially in the past when we've seen just some garbage incidents that have just gone absolutely no foul, play on, and just this. I like that we're being a little bit firmer, but I do not want to see people with 5 second stop go penalties.
We don't want to see penalties in general for non-racy things.
Absolutely.
But just park your car in the right spot and you'll be fine, Alonso.
I don't know, make them wider. I don't know. You're
now,
right.
so they get the penalty and then they go and serve it. Then they come in and do their pit stop. And I'll tell you one thing. If there's one thing that team knows not to do, is to touch that car too early. Because what we saw last week with Ocon was that someone touched it too early and then he got another penalty. And then we know that Ocon went and then when he got another penalty. Now, with the Aston Martin team, they put the jack up to the back of the car, and it was the jack in the end.
Yes.
Put the jack up to the back of the car. They did not raise the car, and they thought that that's what they were allowed to do. They went and did it. They went and did the rest of the race, and as soon as we finished the race, we hear that there's a penalty that might be in place. He goes and does the podium. And
celebrates
then
the champagne,
collects the trophy, then wanders down, has the trophy removed from him.
Yep, handed to George mid-press conference.
Yep, handed to George mid-press conference. Yep. And then off they go. And it was an absolute schmozzle again from the FIA on this one. And the stewards, I'm sorry to say, what an embarrassment, because they managed to nail it the week before, which I thought they did a good job. They were straight onto it. They made him do the next penalty there and then. It was a similar time of race and everything like that because it was for the first penalty, which was the start procedure. And then how is it they get through the race and decide to penalise him then? If they knew it was going to be contentious. It's an interesting issue because that's not what they made out to be. I thought, maybe they've done it because they knew it might be contentious. Well, if you knew it was contentious, make the call there, though, still. You don't need someone to go and appeal to you if you know it's the wrong call. If you think it's contentious, there might be an issue that your stewards don't know the rules.
I wonder if it was Mercedes bringing to light the issue, that when it was pitted, because we did see the message towards George right at the very end saying, just keep within it because we think that he might have a 5 second penalty.
And it was brought to their attention.
So for a competitor to know that, it sort of makes me infer that they've looked at the vision and they've gone, hang on, go and have a look at this. As awful as the call is in terms of the timing, which it was, I kind of think in hindsight that they've looked at that when he's come in and they've gone, that's okay. Then possibly Mercedes have gone, hang on, we think this is not great. We think they've worked on the car, maybe with a lap or so to go, a couple of laps, and they've gone, oh, actually, crap, yeah, maybe. I looked at it, and as soon as he came in, I questioned it. And it wasn't because of the jack, because it was for the left rear man who leans in, and it looks like his right hand holds the wing. It doesn't in the end, but it hovers. He's got his arm out. You
can see it on one of the cameras,
So if you watch really closely, go back, it's lap 18, and it just hovers to the right, because I had a bit of heart-in-mouth moment. I thought, nah, surely you haven't held on to that wing, because we know physically touching the car in any way is a penalty. But, they come out and they've presented 7 other incidences. I don't know where the other 7 incidences are from. I don't know it's from this weekend. I can't imagine it is.
They're all for the penalties.
But they've all
similar. Yes. So similar penalties where they've been allowed to put the jack up to the car. Which is fine. And the rule's actually around being allowed to put the front jack onto the car because the front jack is actually the stopping point for the car.
Yes.
And so where the cars pull up, they pull up to the jack and they actually should touch the jack when they pull up. And so that's why they allowed that part of the rule. However, Aston Martin took into interpretation, like lots of other teams did, with the 7 different examples.
7. And so I don't know where they got them from.
And, there was other stop-go penalties. And they were able to argue that this has been what's been said. They also brought up some minutes of meetings and things like that, where it's been said you're allowed to do this. And so obviously then it was turned over. Right decision in the end.
Great decision in the end.
They got to be quicker on it, though.
Oh, I think so too. I'm big on, as I said to you, once the checkered flag drops and the podium's been had, your penalties for that weekend, I really feel stop there. That if you want to penalise someone, go and penalise them for next week. But I just think...
it can't be the checkered flag because there's racing up until the checkered flag.
Once the podium's done, once the siren's gone, That's it.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky because you are racing all the way up to that checkered flag.
Yeah.
And if there's an issue that does need to be sorted out properly, it's not going to quite happen
but you finish the podium, the celebration's it. I mean, I see the podium. Once you're done, you've done the champagne, you've done the songs, you collect your trophy, you walk off, and that's it. Weekend's done.
I wouldn't mind just seeing them not bring teams in to just explain themselves.
And just decide.
And just make decisions.
Yeah, just
I
decide.
mean, lots of things so nowadays are very technical and they want to hear the team radio about what was said. Did you notify the driver? All those sorts of things.
Well, you think about other sports. You have a player go up to an ump, and the ump's like, "Get out of the way." Like that's my call.
So I actually think everyone would be a little bit more understanding if they removed that next process and just got on with making a call.
I think so too. Just a horrid look though.
They've got the people back in the base with the TV cameras, with the replays to help the stewards.
Yes, well, we've talked about
They've
this.
got the stewards.
Umpire.
That's right, which apparently has been used in this case, and it's been used in other cases. Just we don't actually hear about it.
It'd be nice to hear about it.
Well, it's interesting. So after us discussing that, they are in play. They're supporting the stewards back at the racetrack, but it's not necessarily something we hear, which sort of makes sense in a way.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we do need to hear from them.
No, I'd like to. I'd like to.
We don't hear anything in the stewards' room.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like just something. Maybe even let me know that you've called upon them.
It feels like they're just supporting the stewards in terms of helping out with replays and being able to study some other data and stuff like that. It's sort of putting more people in the stewards' room, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, not a good look regardless, I think. And I think what made it worse is that they gave it back. Which, like, you took it off him.
That's the correct answer.
Yes, I know, but it looks worse, doesn't it? You took it off him.
One of my favourite things from the whole episode.
And then they gave
One of my favourite things from the whole episode, after being informed by Sky News, Alonso told Sky Sports F1, it doesn't hurt much, to be honest. I was on the podium. I did the pictures, I took the trophy, I celebrated with champagne, and now apparently I'm 3 points less. I don't have 15, I have 12.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
No.
And I love that response.
2-time world champion with 100 podiums.
Such a great response. And I thought, you know what, that's the exact way to go and take it.
He's taken over Seb's role, hasn't he?
Yep,
he really has. Because I could envision Seb if he was there right now. If that was Seb, that would be Seb's response.
Yep.
He'd be like, whatever.
Let's talk Mercedes.
Okay.
We saw Russell and Hamilton have an improved weekend from the first weekend.
Yes.
Which we sort of thought was going to happen. They've made the big call that they're going to make large changes to that car.
Yep.
They're sort of really backed that in now. It's hard to go and reverse out of that. Not that I think that they would want to reverse out of that because they're still a long way off the pace. But third out of the four isn't too bad for considering where they thought they were at.
I'm a little bit... It's early in the season, but geez, I'm over the emotional roller coaster that is Mercedes.
Very, very reactive at the moment.
It's just... It's confusing and it's really difficult to listen to and watch at the moment because every minute of every weekend you have someone saying either... Geez, we're no good. Last week this was the worst weekend in the history of motorsport. You finished fifth.
Yep.
It's not hideous. Wander on down to Williams and ask them what a bad weekend looks like.
Yep.
So you've got that, and then you had the Sky interview, I think it was with Rachel Brooks or whatever, and then you've got Toto saying, we're really positive, we're embracing these challenges. And then suddenly you've got Lewis, who is heavily critical of the car, and then he has a pretty decent session. He's like, "Oh, this is looking positive. We're working well as a team." And it's just like pick a storyline, pick a narrative. Are you happy? Are you not happy? And just deal with it.
Yeah, I imagine the media managers in that joint will be pulling their hair out at the moment.
I'll tell you what, for what is essentially a midfield team at the moment, I get that they're down. I'd actually like to hear about someone different.
In a sense,
I know they've fallen. Yes, they have. They're the champions of everything for the last 7 years, nearly a decade. They've had a fall from grace, and we make it out like suddenly they're last. Is sort of the thing that's starting to. It's the narrative that's starting to irritate me a little bit more.
It's not. I don't mind the emotion. Like, it's not great for a company point of view, but I love that Toto is that emotion.
An organisation.
Yeah.
If you listen to Toto.
Yeah, sorry, organisation. Yes, of course. But I don't mind that they've got that passion in there.
Yeah. It's up and down.
It is driving everything.
It's just up and down. FP1, we hate our car. Lewis is leaving. FP2, we're actually going to win this world title. FP3, oh geez, we need some development. Like what are we doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Will we see side pods?
Yeah,
we have to.
Absolutely,
we have to. It has to be a Red Bull.
Red Bull or Ferrari?
It has to be Red Bull.
Yeah, I wonder whether they'll go the Ferrari method, but it will be interesting to see.
It will be interesting to see.
Mind you, it seems like the Red Bull might be easy to copy. Aston Martin's managed it.
Yes, they have people from Red Bull now, though, don't they?
They've had people come in.
They've had people come in, so they'll have that sort of background knowledge as well too. Which I mean, no, it's intellectual property, but they'll have that kind of stuff. Mercedes are going backwards, or they're going forwards. Though I said that last week. This is not going to.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's not like they're going to hit the ground running with the new setup.
The wind tunnel time is what's going to affect them. Because I think it's Aston. I had a look at the numbers over the weekend. I think Aston have 40% more.
Yeah, but they haven't done that yet.
No, but they will have 40% more.
Yeah, that's from Red Bull though. That's not Mercedes.
Is that not Mercedes?
40% more than Red Bull. Russell was fourth, nearly third, but was fourth. Hamilton came home in fifth, and he managed to get ahead of Leclerc due to a Leclerc probably a team issue where he wasn't told to push soon enough, which is a bit of a concern that their pit wall still isn't getting the job done. But fifth for Hamilton, and managed to get ahead of Sainz on pace as well. Russell seemed to have the car.
He does this all over again. He started the season well. He's up and about.
Yep.
He's ready to go. Just on that wind tunnel, so Aston have 100% of the allocation, which I know sounds stupid.
They're exactly the seventh.
They are literally the exact 100%.
Which means they came home in seventh last year.
Yep, so Mercedes have 80% of the wind tunnel allocations. So Aston have 20% more than Merc, and yes, you're right. Red Bull have 63.
Yep.
So they will get nearly 40% more. So...
37.
Yes. So if you look at Haas have got 105, AlphaTauri have 110, Williams have 115.
Which we brought up last episode, that the fact that the second place team at the moment has that much more development time.
Huge.
We will see the Red Bull have to stop at some stage. How will Aston Martin play that card? Will they continue to develop and push for this season? Well, that all depends if they're still in the race.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's all about next season.
They've gone about it in a really clever way because they've taken really essentially what is last year's RB18.
Yep.
And then created that, knowing that you got 40% more wind tunnel allocation. So, I mean, the natural progression is that they'll catch them.
Do they have the understanding
quickly
of their machine, though?
Yes, they've got to understand it.
And that's the key.
They'll catch them and then they'll go. And I think that's where Mercedes are going to be in trouble too, is they're going to add... I mean, they're going to add side pods. We all know it. It's probably not going to go and fix their time. Imagine the uproar. I say uproar. Imagine if they added side pods and they won.
It would be interesting.
Could it happen? Like, could they just go and put side pods on it and get a better downforce and aero velocity and then just win? It would be a bad look.
It feels like there's no way they can make it all work that quickly.
No.
Because they have to make it working with the rest of the car that's not set up for that.
The back end is obviously working well because that's what the Aston had. The Aston
but
has
can this
end.
mess it up, though? That's the big thing.
Who knows?
Yeah,
but they
it'll
do
be interesting.
They need
really
a solid understanding of what they have to. So if they're taking 2 steps back to get to really just the baseline of what they need to be at, then I
wonder whether what they've got at the moment is going to compromise whatever changes they have.
I'm not sure, but they have to go backwards again further. It just, for me, that's the natural way forward.
It'd be interesting. Speaking of going backwards, Ferrari.
Oh, jeepers. What's going on?
Qualified second.
Lucky to qualify. Well, I mean, qualified 12th, technically. But just awful. Like, for a team that boasted that they had spent all summer on reliability, they are the first team to have major reliability issues. So that is, I mean, that in itself, it's just, and Sainz was nowhere this weekend.
Until he did that qualifying lap.
Until he did the qualifying lap. But
which is quite stunning. I'm not sure that was quite celebrated enough.
No, I don't
I'm not
think
sure that
either.
car was... I mean, let's be honest. Max would have been first, so it would have been a third.
Yes,
but it was a really good lap. But not where that car belongs. And like I said, he during a pit stop session, he was supposed to push to the line. His race engineer told him too late, so he dropped the spot to Hamilton, which didn't help his cause. But
fifth in quali, finishing. Where did he finish? He finished fourth, but again, it was just for what he can do and what he's in.
Yep.
It just as silly as it sounds, but for Ferrari, fourth is nowhere.
The Ferraris were quite unlucky because they didn't get to have that battle with Max.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think
sixth, not fourth.
Don't
sixth.
think that battle would have done much for him anyway.
Yeah.
I think Max would have drove around them the way they were going.
Of course,
but Max was handed a little bit of a free kick there because he managed to get ahead of 3 drivers, I think it was. Definitely 2, definitely both Ferraris, but I think it was 3 drivers in that little episode with the safety car. Did that safety car need to go out there?
No, not at all.
I'll tell you what, we're a bit critical of Stroll, but he put that car away perfectly.
He did put it away perfectly. Even if there was a sensor alleged of the wing to say that it's hanging over the track, it was out of the firing line.
Could have been
It was
rolled.
down in the marshal. You could easily have just let the foot off the clutch and rolled it another 5 metres, not even 5, half a metre. This safety car was unnecessary in every way, shape and form.
If you believe that there was an issue, put out a virtual safety car.
A virtual would have been too much to cover that.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you.
I don't even think the brake was on fire. I think it
Yep.
was smoking, and it was a quick knee-jerk reaction to just hose it down, which is fine. Absolutely okay with that. But yeah, what an overreaction.
And sometimes I wonder if they forget these things. But it was an interesting one. Alpine still just being a bit Alpine at the moment.
That is a great way to summarise them.
Well,
they're just being Alpine.
They're the best of the rest of the other rest.
As the other rest,
Yeah, but they're not competing with any of the top 4.
Well, we predicted this pre-season, didn't we? That we didn't know what they'd shown us, and it was going to be one or two things. It was either they've not really done anything and not progressed, or they're going to rock it, and it's the latter. It's just...
Well, they have progressed, but not enough to catch up on other people.
No, because everyone's progressed with them, so they've really just stayed exactly where they are.
Yeah, we saw Ocon and Gasly. They had some close moments through the race. In the restart, I thought, oh, hello, we're going to see an Ocon-Gasly moment, and they actually behaved themselves.
I don't know. We'll see those moments this year.
I'll give them credit because they managed to keep it together. I don't think it's going to always happen.
No.
Haas, 10th for Magnussen, took the last point, stole it off Yuki Tsunoda, who I actually thought Yuki did a really good job.
Yeah, safety car helped him massively.
Did, but I thought he drove quite well.
Yep.
And then I think Hulkenberg was 12th.
I think so, yes. Yep.
Haas. Yeah, you say that, but they're 11th and 12th.
Which is all right.
At a fast track. So
yeah.
If you think of the Haas that we've known, they had the Williams weekend of last week, didn't they?
They kind of did, didn't they? Yeah. I don't know. Hulk was having a couple of moments where he was in 5th. I think it was Q1 that he was 5th again.
Yeah.
So he was doing well.
I think there's signs there.
Better. There's signs.
The question with Haas is, I hope this isn't the best it is.
I think probably their major target is really Alpine.
Yep.
But then even... If you look at both teams on face value, Alpine probably still look a little bit out of reach.
Yep. Oh yeah, 100%. They're in the battle. They're in the battle with AlphaTauri and Williams and Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, they are.
Yep. There is certainly a battle there, which is going to make F1.5 really interesting. AlphaTauri, we talked about Yuki in 11th. He fought hard, but didn't quite get the job done.
No.
And De Vries had a fairly reasonable race, but just didn't have the pace there. Zhou, 13th.
Yep.
What happened to Bottas?
Bottas will...
I was asking you this before because I'm not entirely sure what happened to him.
Well, I'll have a look because I do like, for those people out there listening, I love to actually watch the race again while we're podcasting just to catch up on snippets. But I'm pretty confident he pitted at the end of the lap.
Yeah, but
at the end of the race.
I don't know. Yeah, but he wouldn't have dropped that many spots, so it's interesting. I'm just interested to see what's happened to him.
But I don't know any reason behind why or sort of, how that went about. But yeah.
Oscar Piastri.
What did you think on Oscar's weekend?
Wonderful weekend, I thought.
Yeah,
and after a really disappointing weekend for McLaren and therefore Oscar the week before, and another disappointing weekend for McLaren, I thought Oscar was the shining light on their weekend. Qualified really, really well.
Awesome qualifying.
Got himself through to Q2, which is great.
Yep. Unlucky to lose an end plate.
Yep. And then through to Q3. He actually got through to Q3 in the end. And Norris wasn't able to because he had a bit of a strike with a wall. I'll be interested to see what Norris could have done in that qualifying session as well. But yeah, and then started and then got squeezed by Ocon, I think it was.
Yep.
Lost an end plate. Wasn't a penalty, but Ocon really should have given him more room because there actually wasn't the room there. And I think he was slightly ahead. So I was a little bit annoyed by that. But then sort of fought his way through, had the pace at the end. Norris had no pace whatsoever.
No.
And Piastri had the pace. They let
Norris
him,
was
let
on
him
mediums.
through.
Norris was on mediums that,
Yeah, let him through. And then he went and got ahead of Bottas anyway. And then Sargent. And so, yeah, it was an interesting race for him. But no, I thought it was a positive sign for him.
Yep.
Considering there's not really too much pressure going on there. And then Williams went back to having a bit of a Williams weekend. Albon was showing good signs of pace.
Albon was doing really, really well. I thought Sargent had the opportunity to have an electric qualifying session in a Williams sort of way. But yeah, so I think for me, Williams is a bit of a missed opportunity this weekend.
Yeah, well,
just a backup last week.
The brake issue
yeah.
with Albon was what did him in the end. But yeah, he was looking to have a decent weekend, but yeah,
they've made great progress. They really, really have. I mean, stuck into them all these years.
Yep.
But yes, they have come good.
Yep. Race rankings, and so we've got the all signs 3, 2, and 1. That's awesome. All signs, AWE signs. 3, 2, and 1. Tristan.
3, 2, and 1. I'm going to give another 3 to Alonso this weekend because it's a back-to-back podium. It's 100 podiums, which is double his podiums already of last year.
Mm-hmm.
1.
Yep.
Double to 2. Double to 2. I think it was, what was it? Just off the top of my head.
I think he's only had 2 others since 2009.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of numbers. It's something ridiculous, like 41 for Renault, and then it's... Yeah, what is it? Ferrari was 20, 27, something like that.
Yep.
And then McLaren was 14. The 2007 McLaren era, not the sort of Honda McLaren era, which was nothing. So 3 to the great man. I'm going to give 2. I'm going to give 2 to Piastri because I was really impressed with his qualifying session.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't give it... We know this. I can't give it to Max, and I can't give it to Checo. Because that Red Bull's in a whole other league, and we don't like giving it to people who have a great car and just dominate.
Yep,
can I just say people who are new listening, we don't like doing that kind of stuff.
I'm with you.
And then the one. Look, I'm gonna go with George because he's started the season adapting well to what is obviously not a fast car, but doing well in it again.
Yep,
which is good, and it doesn't bode well. Besides for Hamilton, if he's not being able to get to grips with that car again.
What are you suggesting? Is he on the move? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
He's up.
You know I want to talk about it.
He's up. I don't know. It's just... It doesn't feel like happy families at the moment there, does it? It's not the awe-inspired happy families. Toto's not even... some of his comments around if he goes somewhere else, that's fine. He split with Angie Cullen for the first time in 7 years. Again, a lot of speculation around who ended that. You'd read into his tweet and his Instagram feed that, it was just she wants to do something different. But then I've read many and many articles where he's looking for something different.
Don't know about articles or if it's more speculation.
Speculation,
from
but
fans.
anyway,
I'm gonna go 3 points to Russell.
Okay,
I thought he had a really great race. I'm with you on Perez. While he needed to win, he should have won, and so it's a bare minimum of him doing that. Yep. I'm also going to give 2 to Piastri, and I'm going to give 1 to Yuki Tsunoda.
What about Fernando Alonso's 100th podium? Did you forget that occurred?
No, I remember, but I thought he didn't deserve a point because he parked outside the box.
He's looking for any excuse not to give him points this season, aren't you?
No, mate. I'm all aboard.
Good.
The Alonso train.
Good, because there's been far too many years you haven't been aboard.
No, it's more just to annoy you. I'm a huge fan of the man as well. Not nowhere near like man crush fan, but I think he's a brilliant driver, and I really like him. As a personality on the grid.
Good.
But yeah, no, park inside the box, mate. Like I get my parking right. You can too. Okay, so no, I really... Do you
have one of those parking cameras that help you?
Yeah, I do.
Do you have a 360 one with the picture of your car?
Yep, I do.
How clever is that?
Yeah, and then I go and get him a ute, and then I have a reversing camera, but I don't have the other ones. And I was like, oh man, I got to do this myself.
Yeah.
Yep. My car even, like the mirrors even point down at the lines when I put it in reverse.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had a friend who will remain unnamed.
Well, who was it?
Got in and looked at the photo because you have your image, you have like your digital image of your car shape. Mine is my actual car shape, and then you have a camera around it. And they said to me, "How? Like, where's the camera that's hanging above your car that looks at your car?"
There
I was
would
like,
have
"There's not a camera hanging above my car.
Sends up a drone.
It's a digital photo of my car."
Yep.
Anyway, I'd laugh at that.
Yep, absolutely. Russell, Piastri, and Yuki, because I just like the way Yuki went about it. I've been harsh on Yuki.
I was going to say, you're certainly not Yuki's
and I tell you what,
fan club leader, are you?
Well, there's plenty of them about at the moment, hassling us. But no, I like the way he went about it. I thought he really hustled for that position. Good. Yeah, no, I was pretty happy with him. Who's your dad of the day?
My dad of the day, awesome.
Great.
The national anthem of Saudi Arabia is my dad of the day.
Tell me more.
Was that not the most hideous rendition? I mean, I don't know what the national anthem of Saudi Arabia is, like, at all.
I'm going to have to be honest with you.
Yep.
It was a 3:50 national anthem my time.
Yeah.
I was making coffee.
It doesn't matter what time you listen to it.
I was making coffee. I didn't look at it. I didn't even pay it any attention.
Okay, would you like me to find it while you give it? No, I want to, because it's so bad. It's almost like, picture you go to your child's, like, production or play, and you know that they've got a crap instrument, and they have to, and you're just sitting in the crowd, and you're applauding, and you're like, yeah, great job, but you know that they're doing a bad job, and they're missing every note, and they're not paying attention, and it was just... It was so bad.
Don't do it on your computer. If you're going to do it, do it on your phone.
Okay, all right, I'll see how I find it.
I'm going to go dad of the day, and I'm going to go Yoss for his lack of smile. And I don't mind your idea that that's not his personality.
Yeah.
But don't put yourself in the winner's circle if you're not willing to smile about your team, getting the win.
But he's not. He's not happy for Czech.
Yeah, but his son has won the last two.
Yeah.
He's cruised from 15th all the way into second.
Yeah.
Just don't be there. Be somewhere else if you can't smile. It's fairly straightforward.
Do you remember the press release that he put out on Max's website or his store that was just like...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the man's an absolute psycho. I got a hero of the hour.
A psycho.
Got a hero of the hour.
Yeah, go.
This is another segment that's come back nicely. You brought it in last week. I'm bringing it back this week.
Yeah.
Bernie Collins joining the Formula 1
unreal
Sky Sports team. How wonderful is it to have some technical people part of that conversation?
My only criticism of that is I didn't need to know every time that Bernie was introduced that she is the ex-head of strategy at Aston Martin. I know that. Like, when you tell me 28 times, I fully understand.
Yeah, but desperado. Not everyone's a desperado like you.
No, I know.
Has watched every second of the coverage, which is like I'm the same, but. They do have to introduce who is this person.
Awesome, loved it. And my favourite little throwaway line of hers for the weekend was "happy to be wrong." And I just thought that she was great. I really was.
Yeah, no, it's a good addition. People from the technical side,
new people,
need to be involved in this coverage.
Recent experience.
Yeah, and she spoke really well. It was people. Naomi Shifter, people give her a bit of a hard time sometimes because she hasn't worked within Formula One.
Yeah.
And who's the American woman?
Danica Patrick.
Danica Patrick.
Yeah.
I love what she brings to it, but when I hear her speak, sometimes I'm like, it'd be nice to have someone from Formula One. Well, obviously Sky Sports have listened.
Yes.
And they've gone and got her. And what a great acquisition.
Oh, I think it's fantastic.
Tristan, there's a place in Melbourne.
Yep.
And they do the best croissants in the world, as judged by some experts.
That's a huge call.
Why am I talking about croissants halfway through this Formula 1 conversation?
Is it because you're giving me time to find this awful national anthem?
No.
Okay, because I have found it.
It's because, you're going to have to hold on to it, it's because the person who makes these croissants worked for Williams
as
an engineer.
Right.
Still loves still loves Formula One. I'm trying to find her name now, and people are going to be yelling it at me. Still loves Formula One and right into it. Yep. It's going to have to be our mission that we have a conversation with this.
Okay,
this
I love
wonderful
it.
lady.
And the croissant, obviously.
Yeah.
Croissants.
Yep. Go on, hit me
All
up.
All right, can I play you this hideous rendition of National Anthem?
Closer.
Like, can you just imagine the 10-year-olds playing this?
Okay.
What was that?
I'm with you now.
What was that?
Lucky I was making coffee because I would have been like, oh,
And it had a conductor and
God,
everything.
my ears are broken at 3:50 this morning.
No. Someone conducted that.
Wowee.
What? It's so bad.
I want to know.
It's
I want to
so
know
bad.
if that's the way it's supposed to be played.
I really hope not.
Kate Reid is this engineer's name from Williams. So we're going to endeavour to have a conversation with Kate Reid at some stage.
Maybe we can ask Kate her thoughts on the national anthem.
Time for
Yikes.
new segment time.
New segment. Oh, the surprise segment.
Yes.
Yep. Give us some intro music to go with this.
Yeah, sure. You got a certain national anthem
No,
you're a fan of?
could we use the Saudi national anthem?
No, new segment.
All
And if you're a sponsor listening, you are welcome to jump on this new segment because I've got a feeling this one's going to lift off.
Good.
This one's going to lift off.
Good.
Thanks to our current sponsors, All Signs and Dr. Auto Up. This is called How Are They Sleeping?
Go on.
How Are They Sleeping? Okay. We're gonna go through, and it's going to be a category of people within Formula One. How are they sleeping at the moment?
Okay.
We're going to start with team principals.
All right.
So
I'm
going to give you an example.
I was going to say, can you give me an example?
Christian Horner.
Yep.
How's he sleeping at the moment? Is he sleeping soundly? Is he sleeping well?
Okay. Yep.
The sort of guy he is. Does he sleep well ever? Okay. So Christian Horner.
Yep.
Red Bull is on top. They are killing it at the moment. Yep. That man is getting a good 10 hours sleep every time he gets home.
Right.
I mean, we know he lives on the ranch in the middle of the countryside.
It's not a ranch.
Well, it's not a ranch. It's in England. It can't be a ranch, a farm, beautiful farm. Estate is what they call it in England. So he's getting 10 hours sleep.
There. Yep.
Okay?
Okay.
You understand how this is working?
Yeah. Doesn't sound overly complicated.
No. Sometimes I have to really explain things to you. Aston Martin. Who's the Aston Martin team principal?
Mike Crack.
There you go. Well done.
Thank you.
How's Mike Crack sleeping?
Pretty well.
Okay. So things are going well for him.
Yeah.
For me, I don't.
All right.
He's sleeping well, but he's got the opportunity. So I don't know if he's getting great sleep because he got the opportunity to go and take on this Red Bull team, particularly with all this extra testing time.
He's not sleeping well. He's like his mind's racing.
It's been said that they're going to have about 200 more, a bit over 200 more wind tunnel hours.
Yep.
Or wind tunnel sessions, which I think they break them into hours or something like that.
Yep.
So 200 more wind tunnel sessions. So he's got work to do. Whereas Christian Horner, I mean, they're a bit limited in what they can do.
Yep.
So I actually think he's happy. He's going to bed happy, but he's waking up early because there's work to be done. Do you know how this works?
I can see it.
Yeah. Who's next? Toto. How's Toto Wolff sleeping at the moment in his $1 billion mansion?
How do you feel?
You're not really. Well, you can't be sleeping well. The former champ. Nothing used to stir this man, and now he's dealing with
pacing up
38
and down the
points,
hallway.
the same amount of points as Aston Martin.
Yep.
Aston Martin have come from nowhere. Red Bull already on 87 points. They're on 38 points.
Yep.
Toto ain't sleeping.
No.
I mean, we're seeing these emotional responses. Worst weekend in our history.
Yes.
Now that everything's all good. We're seeing this emotion. There ain't any sleep happening there, is there?
No, it's not.
However, he's an owner of a team, so maybe he's all right.
I'm struggling to take you seriously with this segment. Please,
Right, Ferrari.
Please continue.
Ferrari. Team principal of Ferrari?
Fred Vasseur. How's Fred sleeping?
That's what I'm asking. That's the question. How do you tell me?
He's not sleeping. I guess he's not sleeping.
Why?
Because
Tell me more.
Because they're breaking down.
They are breaking down, and he's the head of Ferrari. He's trying to make changes. I don't think Fred Vasseur sleeps anyway.
Sorry.
But yeah, there's work to be done there.
How are you sleeping after this second?
Aston Martin. Oh, sorry,
No, Aston.
Alpine.
Alpine.
So we've got what's his name? Not Gene Haas.
Franz Toss. No, not Franz Toss.
Ottmeyer. All right, how's Ottmeyer sleeping? He's a calm character, isn't he?
He's a calm.
I think he's sleeping okay.
He's probably hitting the snooze button.
You reckon he's hitting the snooze button?
Well, he doesn't have anything to do except for pot around in 9th and 10th. So
now you're getting it. Now you're getting it. He's hit the snooze button because there's nothing to do. They're not catching the top 4. They're not getting caught by anyone from behind.
Yeah.
He's hit the snooze button.
He has.
There you go.
Oh, dear.
Nailing it. Alfa Romeo. Andreas Seidel?
Andreas Seidel.
See, team principals?
No, he's like CEO gig. We don't have a team principal.
Yeah, so we'll go with CEO.
Okay.
Seidel, how's he sleeping?
Alfa Romeo.
He's doing lots of dreaming.
Yeah.
He's dreaming of the future.
Probably doing
He's sleeping and he's thinking about the future.
Yep.
Lots of dreaming about the future because it's all about the future of that team, isn't it?
Yep, it is.
He's thinking about Audi. He's thinking about the more they take over, the better things are going to go. He's thinking about recruiting Dan Ricciardo.
Yeah, trying to recruit Dan.
Yep. So,
okay.
I think he's doing a lot of dreaming when he's sleeping.
Yep.
All right. Haas. Yeah.
Are they sleepwalking?
Well, do you really think?
Are they sleepwalking? I don't know. What?
Do you really think he sleepwalks?
I don't know.
He's having nightmares, isn't he? He's swearing in his sleep.
Well, that's also alluding to. He's not quite sure what he's doing.
All right.
Oh,
you're not really going very well with this one.
No.
Williams. Our man's James Allison has gone to Williams. He's managed to get them into 8th in the Constructors with 1 point.
Yep.
How is he sleeping, James Allison? He's come from the cosy, cushy, fluffy bed of Mercedes.
Yep.
Into the dank, cold world of Williams.
I think he's just having naps.
Yeah, he's living on naps at the moment because he can't go home to his bed at all.
No.
He's got to live on naps.
He's been kicked out of home.
The couch.
He's been kicked out of home.
Yeah, so he's living on naps at the moment, poor old James Allison.
Yep.
But things are happening.
Yep.
Franz Tost from AlphaTauri.
Yep. How do you feel Franz is sleeping?
Well, the way he's talking about his team, he doesn't trust his engineers anymore.
No.
He suggested everyone should be just happy to have a job there.
Yep.
That man is sleeping in a world of his own.
He's sleeping on the floor.
I think he's sleeping at the factory.
At the factory?
I think he's probably sleeping at some of the colleagues' homes just to keep them on work issues.
Yep.
That man is a psycho. Which I think there's not good signs coming out of that team.
No.
McLaren.
How
are they sleeping?
I think they're probably sleeping okay because Zach's just got lots of money from all the sponsorship that he sells on his cars.
Yeah, but we're not talking about Zach.
Yeah, I know.
Zach's okay. Whatever happens with the team.
Well, Andreas Stella
is not sleeping 1 wink at the moment.
No, you don't think?
He can't be, surely.
I don't know.
How are they sleeping?
That's
our segment.
Okay.
How are they sleeping?
Yay! I'm going to get some music for you to close the segment out.
Yes, the crowd loves it. That was good. Well done. We've really brought up the technical aspect of it. How are they sleeping?
Will it be back next week?
All right, yeah, because I've got a new category of people next week.
Category of people.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We're going to do the drivers next week.
God, I'm glad I wasn't prepared for that.
Yeah, that's right. You would have tried to talk me out of it. That's why I don't tell you these things.
Oh, and can we look if it comes back? If it comes back, I mean, it's going to be back, isn't it?
F1.5. Where are we at with F1.5? I've got some concerns about F1.5.
Really? How are you sleeping?
That's a good point. This is a new thing. Look, I'm sleeping with a worried head.
Okay.
I'm worried that there's not going to be enough teams in it this year. Well, it's going to be different. It's going to be a completely different one.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's probably one of the benefits of F1.5.
Yes.
It is so malleable. We can change it and mould it however we need to. And you being the ultimate orchestrator of F1.5.
Thank you, orchestrator. True.
Dictator.
Yep.
I think you can make something out of it. But at the moment, what have we got? 5 teams that could be in it.
Yep.
At the moment.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yeah. So look, I think at the moment, from where we are with F1.5, if I was going to start F1.5 next week, I think the exclusions for F1.5 would be Red Bull.
Obviously.
It would be Aston.
Obviously. They've got their own championship.
Yep. Which would be Merc, and it would be Ferrari, to be quite honest. And I say Ferrari because I feel like Ferrari are going to be what Merc were last year. You could put them in, but they are going to be the 4th best team, and the gap between 4th and 5th is probably big enough. Like, I mean, you can't imagine that Alpine are going to catch Ferrari in any way, shape, or form.
Can Alpine be considered as part of it?
I don't know. Maybe they're the outlier. It's going to depend on whether or not they're going to be consistently 5th, because we do have teams that are just, that is clearly your spot, and you're not going to catch the person in front of you, and you're not going to be caught.
They seem like they're very much in the middle land.
Yeah, so it could very well just be, the chase could be on between Haas, Williams, AlphaTauri, and Alfa Romeo and McLaren, to be quite honest.
That's where I'm seeing it.
It's sort of where we're thinking there. Anyway, but it's still a great championship. It's still a great championship. Maybe we could just divide it clean into 2. But I mean, there is a championship for the first lot. It's called F1. So anyway, I think that's where we are there.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
We'll wait and see. We do say round 5, so what, by Baku? We'll launch it at Baku.
Baku.
We'll launch it before Baku or after Baku? We'll do it after, because that's 5 rounds, and then I'll retrospectively go back and work it out.
Just thinking ahead, we might need to have an episode in between Australia and Baku, so we might do an in-between episode.
All right, we will do. Anyway, that's the general feed. Let us know if you think are they worthy of being part of it, Alpine? I feel possibly yes.
Ooh,
possibly.
Ooh,
possibly.
I mean, they are only on 8 points.
Well, I mean, if you went ahead and looked at this weekend, Valtteri beat both of them. So Valtteri is ahead of both of them. So.
No,
and then you got K-Mag afterwards. No, sorry, in the overall standings.
Yeah, overalls, yes.
Overall standings.
Yep.
Anyway, to be seen,
okay.
but I feel like they will be.
Okay.
All right.
Fantasy F1.
Fantasy F1. How fantastic has our league grown? I say fantastic, but before
you're a bit dirty.
I was a little bit dirty on that, because we had people jump in mid-week, which is great.
And we said they could.
Which is great, and we said they could, which is fine.
My problem is
that these people are now in front of me, and it's pushing me down the order, and I'm not happy about it. So 63 teams, which is amazing. So thank you to every single person that is part of fantasy this year. Are you loving the new fantasy format? Because I actually am loving the new format. It's big points.
There are lots of points.
There's a lot of points going on, which means you can catch. I felt like in the years gone by, you'd get little amount of points, so you can't really catch the people in front of you.
Because you can still get zeros.
Yeah, because I mean, last year if you went 25 points down, it might take you a month to catch that up. So I like that we've got bog points. I like the new chips. I think it's going really, really well. So 63 people, 63 individual teams, no double teams this year. Thank you to everyone who was a part of it. Going really, 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 really well. All right, we'll start with us.
Yeah.
Start with us as always. All right, we'll go top to bottom. I'll start with me. So I'm sitting in 8th at the moment.
No, you didn't get top for this week.
No, I know, but I'm going.
Not overall.
Are we going to overall?
For the round.
Oh, sorry. I'll try again.
If I'm gonna win, I
sorry.
want the recognition I'm due.
Right, sorry. All right, for the Saudi weekend. All right, so I was ranked 15th for the weekend. You were ranked 13th.
Yes, I was.
Sorry. Now I see where this is going.
Yes.
So 13th for you. 293 points for your good self.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, well done. Well done to you. Massive pat on the back.
Yep.
15th, excuse me. 15th for me. And then if we're scrolling
How many points for you?
How many points did I get? 287.
Yeah, not bad.
Which is not too bad. Not too bad. I'm fine with that. And then if we're looking for Jay, Jeepers.
Nah, he's there.
He's there. There he is.
Missing.
35th. There he is on 272 points.
Yeah, which is only what, 11 points off you.
Well, it kind of is, actually. So that's where I like.
It's actually really close.
It's really close, and it's really, really catchable.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah, which is fine. So I like that. So that's good. The top 3 for the round. We'll just go through team names because we don't have the actual people's names this year. So ranked equal first, Stop Inventing 400, and Super Karate Monkey Death Car.
Whoa.
Great name. Also equal first on 400. Then in third place, Make F1 V8 again, 384. And then equal third, WW Jolien PD on 384. So that's your top 3. Which I mean is equal first and equal third for both of those, so it's really 4 teams, isn't it? So they're our round winners. Our absolute bottom of the pile. I always like to do wooden spooners for the round. I think it's just exciting. It's just exciting. Well, not really for us. Is Team Urameshi on 158 points.
Let's hear his team.
Actually, you can't go into 2 teams.
Really?
Which is, that actually surprises me.
Oh.
So, anyway, that's a very low score for fantasy, which is not great. And then outside of that, if we're just looking at our leaders so far, for the overall for all races, so Stop Inventing leads so far on 697 points, which is huge. Has used the extra DRS, so the 3 times chip, this weekend. Had it on max. If you had it on max this weekend for the 3 times, 183 points.
Yep.
Which is tidy. Don't mind that. Not sure how many points we're going to see for a sprint race. Interesting to see. I'm holding mine for a sprint race. Are you holding yours for sprint race?
Of course. Yeah,
Don't forget it this year.
Yep.
In second place, WW Jolien PD on 687 points. Third place team is Nando for the World Drivers' Championship, 669. In fourth place, Make F1 V8, again 664. And in fifth is Roaring Rooster Racing on 631. And then for our good selves, myself on 8th on 590 points. Just scrolling down a little bit. Jay sitting in 28th on 556 points.
What?
Yep, and then you are sitting in 33rd.
Hang on,
539. Not, obviously not.
Clearly not.
So 539 points you're sitting on.
Fuming.
There you go.
Thought I was sure I was ahead of
Anyway, it's all happening. But I'm loving the new fantasy. Thank you to Chris at Dr. Auto Art for his amazing sponsorship.
Bottom of our league is RLD 303.
Yes, saw that one.
What does that stand for?
No idea.
Let us know. RLD 303.
If that is
his
you.
team.
Yes, go for
so
it.
this is Doctor time.
Okay. Yep.
I'm probably no good to you. His team at the moment is Max.
Are you going to give advice, are you?
No, not really.
Okay,
no.
sorry. Okay.
Yeah, his team's currently Max and Alonso.
I can't imagine anyone doesn't have either of those two.
Mm-hmm. Then he's got Albon.
Yep.
Thoughts?
Yeah.
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 Leclerc.
No.
I'm with you. I jumped off the Leclerc bandwagon.
Yeah,
out. Sargent.
No, won't do enough
Just
for long
won't
enough.
get the points.
Yep.
I mean, poor old Albon cost him minus 17 points this week.
Yeah, that hurts. I think I got minus 15 for Lance.
And then he's got Haas.
What?
And he's got Red Bull.
So
the 2 major issues is Leclerc and Sargent, and then
Haas.
You'd be freeing up some money with Leclerc, wouldn't you?
Oh, you'd be freeing up bulk money.
Yep. So if you can get rid of your one of your constructors of Haas and Sargent, and you're going to see if you can free up some Leclerc.
I feel like
money.
that whole team needs to be a full rebuild now before everyone goes up in price.
Yeah, well, so I went and did the change.
Okay.
Yep.
How'd you go?
Well, I decided it was time for a change.
Yep.
And so I've gone with a very Red Bull approach.
All right, walk us through. How many changes did you make?
3.
3? Oh, that would have cost you 2.
No, 2.
2. I was going
Maybe
to say
2.
anything outside that.
No, you get 3 free. I don't know.
I
Anyway.
think they roll over.
Yeah, so I've got Max. I've always had Max.
Yep.
And I've always had Alonso.
Yep.
But I managed to bring in Perez and Gasly.
Yep.
And I've held on to Hulkenberg.
Okay.
So I'm pretty happy with where things are at. I've made some adjustments.
Yep.
I can't actually remember who I've got rid of now.
No.
Yeah, now that they're there. But anyway.
Well, Max has gone up 0.1 mil. Perez has gone up 0.1 mil.
Yep.
Fernando's gone up 0.2 mil.
Yep.
Stroll's come down 0.1, which is still great value. And Joe, I've got Joe at 4.9, and he's stayed pretty steady. The Red Bulls have gone up 0.1, and Aston have stayed as well.
Yep.
So
yeah, look, I'm pretty happy with where things are at.
Yep.
I think that's the changes. Oh yeah, so I had Leclerc, I had Joe, and so I've removed Leclerc, brought in Perez, and managed to bring in Gasly with the extra money.
Okay, there you go.
So pretty happy with where that's at.
Interesting.
Have you made any big changes yet?
No, zero changes. Zero changes.
This is a real arrogant approach. I like it.
I'm very happy with how we're flying along so far here. If anyone moves, it'll be Joe, but I'm actually really happy with how he's going.
Yep. Unless
Oscar does something great. But I do have a little bit of money left over. What have I got left over? Got a little bit. I got $500,000 left over.
Yep.
So, yeah, not too many more I can apply there. Anyway, that's fantasy for this week. Loving the new format. Thanks to all 63 teams that are a part of it. And a massive thanks to Chris at Dr. Auto Art for all of your great sponsorship for the year. Top 3 finishes, artwork of their choice, driver of their choice, all provided by Chris. Check out his Instagram, Redbubble, and Facebook page to check out his terrific artwork that he's doing. I think he did a Gilles Villeneuve one last week I had a look at. Didn't mind that at all. I liked his Leclerc one that he did too.
I got sent a picture of some. I've been asking for them. I got sent a picture of one, and it is magnificent.
He's done a new Alonso one, I think.
It was a custom one, a Seb one.
Yep.
And they were blown away by the size of it.
Yeah,
because the custom ones are a bit bigger.
Yep.
Yeah, they were outstanding.
Fabulous.
Into the news. Tell me, what's about?
News. News at the moment.
Science believes Ferrari has set a development path amid the F1 race pace weaknesses. So it feels like Ferrari know where their weaknesses are, which is a really important part of it all.
Yep.
And the question is, how much can they go? Now, let's not forget where they finished last year. They finished second last year, was it? So they've got a little bit less time than Red Bull, but they don't have anywhere near their time of Aston Martin.
Yeah.
So there is going to be a real challenge there. Like you said, they talked all about the reliability being improved, and we haven't seen any sign of that yet. Although, mind you, they got through race weekend this week. So it's important that they know where the problem is. It's when teams don't know where the problems are. We've had seasons where McLaren thought they knew where the problems are, and then that changes, and so that's at least a sign. I'm being down on Ferrari, but I'm hoping that we're going to see some improvement from them soon. I'm not without hope that we're going to see some more competitive racing throughout this season. I feel like there's a few teams on the cusp of being quite a bit stronger.
Yes, I agree with you.
My concern is Red Bull hasn't shown us their full hand yet because they haven't had to.
No, that's exactly right. And you know what? Maybe they don't have to actually show their full hand because they've done everything they need to do so far. They're a mile ahead. The DRS is kicking goals.
Yep.
And maybe that's sort of where they're at.
Yep. What else we got?
Lewis Hamilton, critical of a specific design flaw in the Mercedes that is just not suiting his style at the moment. So a little bit of news around that. It could be around the rear of the car, but he's not willing to, I guess, openly say, but he'll be pushing to make sure that he can actually get that change. So specific design element seems to be working against him at the moment. Yep.
Anything else, really?
Anything else? That's sort of it at the moment. I mean, it's only round 2. We know that we talked about the news of the new updated format for qualifying at Imola, but we talked about that last week. So news at the moment is just, it's quiet.
It is.
It's quiet. I mean, it's round 2, which is fine.
Yep. Before the episode, you had a little idea around...
Yep.
Can you remember?
Around the fastest lap point.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we've seen last week fastest lap disappear into a non-contender down the bottom of the order. Yep. And as we know, if you're outside the top 10, you don't get the point for fastest lap.
No.
What's your idea?
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know if we've talked about this before on other episodes.
No, I don't think so.
I'm not sure we have.
Yeah.
I honestly think the fastest lap should just go the whole field. So outside top, doesn't matter who sets the fastest lap, you get a point.
What we're going to see from this is we're going to see the teams that aren't in the contest for a top 10 place.
Yep.
We're going to see those teams all come in and have a crack at it late in the race.
Which I think is great.
Tell me more.
So if you look at the way that we finished Saudi, there was a group sort of across the line. If you're looking at that group, you had Norris, Sargent, Piastri, all sitting around the back. I think De Vries was tied up in that. Bottas was for a little bit. But let's say you've got those bottom four. All those guys are a mile off. They're a lap down or whatever. They're not going to be winning the race. Suddenly someone's just going to come in and throw us their softs on.
Not someone.
Most of them.
All of
them are going to go, well, here's an opportunity to get a point. I'm not going to win. But what I can do is I might have a set of softs sitting there ready to go. So why just leave them there when I can come in and put them on and battle it out? So what you're going to see is, you could also have the likes of 13th, 14th, 12th, which in this case would have been Hulk, Zhou, De Vries. You could put Tsunoda in there at 11th too. Let's say he gets passed by K-Mag a couple of laps earlier. Then suddenly you've got the possibility of someone like Tsunoda coming in and go, well, hang on, I've just lost 10th of my guaranteed point. Stuff it. There's no point finishing 11th. I might as well finish 15th at worst. So go out and get a point. And suddenly the back end of the field, like you saw with Max, who asked about the fastest lap, and they said it doesn't matter. But then his response was, yeah, it matters to me. Which I love that. I love that ruthlessness about him. You're going to see a really frantic finish for people who are quite happy to risk it and come in for that extra point. The flip side of that is those that don't come in have the possibility to gain up the field, up the grid.
Do you think that we're going to see it take away from some good results?
No.
So where we've got some close racing results, which we've seen in the last couple of years, is there a chance that it could take away from that, or worse yet, cause a problem in that situation?
No, I don't think so. Because if you look at the close results, right, so let's go 15th, 16th, for example. So Piastri finished just under a second ahead of Sargent. Mm-hmm. And that's a close finish that he fought really hard for 15th, which is really nothing. You get nothing for that. So to be quite honest, he might as well not have passed Sargent. Mm-hmm. And what's the difference between going home 15th or 16th?
Well, it actually puts him above Norris in the championship.
It does.
It does on
technicality when you're both on zero, right?
Yep.
But then, why not? Why not have the offer of the fastest lap point? Because then Oscar can go, okay, well, you know what? Yeah, the difference between 15th and 16th, I mean, in all honesty, who cares? You might as well come in.
My question is, like,
grab a point.
Let's say we're seeing a race for the finish,
yep.
and then all of a sudden we see, in the last two laps,
yep.
we see half the field duck into the pits.
Yep.
I don't want that taking away from racing at the front.
I think
that's a challenge that I'm absolutely all for it.
Yeah.
I think we give it a run.
I think
we give it a run.
I'd love to see it trialled somewhere.
I'll see what happens. I'll send the email off.
Yep.
I think we'll give it a go.
Yeah, I think so. I think it shouldn't just be reserved for the top 10. Give anyone a go. There's a possibility for fast racing at the back of the grid as well.
All right. Next question: where do you want to see it trialled?
Where do I want to see it trialled? I mean, geez, it really wouldn't matter, to be quite honest. You could trial it at Australia in a couple of weeks' time.
I think it would be a good one for Australia. I think it would be a good one for Barcelona.
I don't think there's a track that this would be specific to.
No. I don't think so. But this is for the trial. I think we give it a go.
Give it a go
some
now.
Tracks that have had some issues in terms of racing.
Yep.
Let's increase some interest around there.
Yeah. But I mean,
it's an interesting idea coming from a man that very rarely likes any change.
Very true.
I bring up any sort of change and you're like, no, we're not changing anything. No, I don't like sprint races. No, we're not changing the format of qualifying because that's the way I like it.
Yep.
It's not even always been that way, but
no.
You're always, so I'm liking it. I'm liking it. You know, I like to experiment with things and I don't want to just throw the absolute religion of Formula One into the air, but I think that one's a nice little idea.
Good, thank you.
Well done. Well done. Next race is Australia.
Great.
It is not too far away. We've got a weekend and then another weekend and then we're there. Hopefully we'll be able to catch up with some people at the track.
Yes.
There'll be an opportunity for a bit of a conversation there and we'll be able to do a bit of a catch up and get to know some people. But I'm really looking forward to it. Yep,
bring you some behind the scenes episodes as well. A little bit of a day by day sort of update, which those who have been listening to us for a long time.
Yep.
You know that we do that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
We'll give you, what it's like in the paddock.
The little insights and
things you don't get from any news feed that you don't have luxury of experiencing yourself. All those things that we can bring to you across a race weekend.
Absolutely. So that'll be all happening. What are you expecting from Australia? Because we're
we're going to have an extra DRS zone, which is great. I'm not quite sure. I mean, it's different. We've had a track so far. We've opened to a track where we've all tested on, and we all know very, very well. We've had a high-speed track in Jeddah. Now we're going to have a little bit more of a traditional sense racetrack.
Well, yeah,
Yes
but they
and
call
no.
it the road. They call it a street circuit, don't they? Like the back of it's been resurfaced, but
more the
the
configuration.
front of it hasn't, and they do talk about it being quite bumpy and So
Could be another mixed result.
You know, I think we're due
Yep.
a really good race there. And
Yeah.
I don't want to wreck things, but I think we're due a really good result there.
That's fair.
And I think the extra DRS zone is going to play.
I think
some
it's going to be
havoc.
really good. We had the
I
opportunity.
want to see some bravery with it. I want
Yep.
to see them stick with it.
Yep, absolutely.
So that'll be something that we get stuck into, and a few extra episodes coming up for your next event. But until then, keep an eye out for Fan Frenzy, which will be coming out later in the week, and we'll talk to you again soon. Goodbye now.